Take a look at something on the ballot. One of the most controversial issues on the ballot today, Prop 19, whether marijuana should be legalized in California for recreational and personal use. It's already been approved by California voters for medical reasons, medical marijuana. And here with me, as he is every Tuesday, is Dr. Mitchell Goldman. Thank you for being here from UCSD to talk about and have a doctor's take on medical marijuana. So let's try to take the politics out of it, which is really difficult to do. But from a medical standpoint, when you look at medical marijuana, what have we seen as it's been put into use? Has it been effective?
It actually has been effective, and for a variety of conditions. Probably the most important is what's called neuropathic pain. So people that are in pain, whether it's from multiple sclerosis or any kind of neurologic diseases, marijuana is one of the best ways to alleviate the pain. But it's also really good for a number of other conditions, from everything from Alzheimer's disease to multiple sclerosis to lung cancer to brain cancer.
In fact, we have a long list. Let's put it up on the screen as you continue to elaborate.
It really is amazing.
Have there been studies on medical marijuana?
Yes, there have. There have been a number of studies, and right here at the Scripps Institute, there was a study on the use of marijuana in Alzheimer's disease, and it was found that THC, the active component in marijuana, one of the about 260 active components, actually can block the plaques that are made in the brain and restore memory. So THC, medical marijuana, could actually be used for memory and Alzheimer's disease. Another study from UCSD showed that in our AIDS patients, where they go through a muscle wasting and a loss of appetite, and they also have neuropathic pain, it actually helps them as well.
Now, the FDA has not approved this. Opponents say it's addictive, it's a gateway to other drugs. What do you say from a doctor's perspective to those arguments?
You know, from a pure physician who even has 2 young children, there's been no scientific proof ever that it is addicting or it goes on to other drugs. And so that's just the medical proof. Now, someone can always find an article someplace, but when I took the time to actually research dozens and dozens of articles on this, there's really no proof that it can be addicting.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the historical perspective, because you said in some of your research you found that one particular founding father, for sure, actually grew his own marijuana.
It did. It's like, even though the Puritans brought it over mostly to make hemp and rope and clothing, George Washington actually cultivated, and he didn't cultivate the marijuana that was for making rope and clothing. He cultivated the medicinal marijuana, because indeed marijuana has been used as a medication since the time of the Egyptians.
Wow, and it was prohibited by law back in 1913, and so it's been a long time.
Yeah, but that was, California was the very first state to prohibit the use of marijuana.
And now we could be the first to legalize it.
And right, and the reason was, in 1910, during the Mexican Revolution, a lot of the Mexican population was coming to California. The Mexicans were the ones that sort of introducing recreational use instead of medicinal use. And so a political attempt to try to stem the tide of the Mexican influx was to outlaw marijuana.
Something else before we leave you I thought was interesting, you told me during the commercial break about your research, is that it doesn't harm your lungs. I've heard so much about it killing off brain cells. Is that true? And how did you find out about the lungs?
Well, it actually doesn't kill brain cells. It kills brain cancer cells. So people with brain cancer can actually use that as a chemotherapeutic agent, as can breast cancer victims. But it actually doesn't cause pulmonary disease or lung cancer. And even
like cigarettes.
Like cigarettes. And when you smoke cigarettes and marijuana, marijuana actually lessens the risk of lung cancer from cigarettes. So, you know, it's basically a political problem.
Right.
I'm a physician, and as a physician, there's really no medical reason to ban marijuana use.
Well, very interesting perspective. We appreciate your expertise on this. And Prop 19, of course, Lauren, will be left up to the voters today.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Goldman and Kathleen. Who knew?